fighting for this world power, okay, world domination. They are revving up their forces, okay? And it starts with, we know who it starts with, the big DT, okay? So we have to really prepare ourselves in a new way, okay? We are going through a massive shift energetically that is global, okay? And I had talked about this in another recent video, but this is not about countries against other countries anymore. This is going to be a different type of a resistance into the masses, more around the breakthrough of these dominating empires that have been owning us and programming us for lifetimes. Okay, so it's a different energy and it's going more globally, and it is connecting us on a higher level where we are connecting to other people, light beings, okay, globally. We can feel their energies when they raise their vibration, and it is a new way of connecting us and seeing things from a bigger lens, okay, a wider lens. And as we continue to ascend, more people will be in tune to their heart space. They will be connecting more to their soul and who they truly are. And as they kind of break through the programming and the fears and the shell that has kind of kept them and who they are detached in some way, as that starts to fall, they're going to go more in touch with who they truly are, which is their authentic self, and they start aligning to their true soul missions here, which then reorchestrates their divine plan and why they came here to begin with. And we break through many, many karmic cycles, okay? And so right now, I'm getting really strong messages that the first group that went through this awakening, they had to go through really dark times, tough times, all right? And now they are the forerunners of this next stage, the next chapter. So I was getting like first group, second group, okay? So I was getting now the second group is going through the mass awakening right now. And this is connected, look at the devil just flew out. And this is connected to everything political, okay? This is connected to everything government. This is connected to everything, okay? This is talking about that dark underbelly, right? And they're gearing up. They're gearing up for that second wave. And so the first group of light workers that went through that spiritual attack, which is terrible, and I've talked about what that is, okay? They are now navigating and are learning how to move through these energies, all right? And now we as light bearers, and when I say light workers, anyone who is working for the good of the world, humanity, speaking their truth, lighting up the truth, working for good, that's a light worker. So anyone is a light worker, okay? It doesn't mean that you're religious when you say light worker, okay? It is somebody who works for the light. And everybody has to start seeing themselves in that fashion, because that is where we're going, okay? It's just where we're going. It's not, we don't have a choice anymore, okay? It's not, there's no gray areas, because we've been living in the gray for so long. We've been dancing around it, pretending things are not happening when they're happening. And now we can't do that because it went too far. So now we have to go to the other side, okay? We got to go all the way up. We got to keep ascending and get realigned, okay? Because that's the only way we can get realigned back to our purpose and why we're here, okay? Is to go into the light, because that's where we came from, is the light, okay? So as part of this shift right now, it's really important that this second tier starts to address fears. I'm getting that really strong, fears, okay? So fears is false evidence appearing real. And in order to ascend fear, which can be the hardest thing to do, you have to face the darkest dark usually, okay? And it is not an easy thing to do that. And you also are forced to go into faith, and that is the light, okay? You have to go into faith and trust in the light. But right now I'm getting really strongly that there's a lot of people who are entrapped in fear. And that fear has to release out, okay? And they have to not think like that. And it does get to the point when you go into spiritual wars, okay? You go into a spiritual war, you cannot allow fear in. Like, fear cannot even come into your energy field at all, okay? Fear cannot exist, okay? It's really important for the fear to leave, because you can't allow anything to lower your vibration. You can't let that in. You can't allow it. You have to create a barrier field of sorts. So I'm just getting a lot of messages in terms of the presidential election and what we're kind of going into, especially with all of these investigations and cases that are coming in with Trump, is that people really have to awaken to this new type of warfare, which is what they are using, okay? And they have been using on us to manipulate timelines, time and space outcomes, and a lot of it is coming in through coding systems and technologies, okay? And that is how they have been maintaining the upper hand. They have been stopping things from progressing forward. They've obstructed justice. And that is how we have to figure things out, is getting things back up into the light, because they lose power when things go into the light. So how they were winning is they were sweeping through the nations, the world, countries with darkness, okay, through the masses. And one of those main attacks was the pandemic, okay, that was COVID-19. And they swept through and they created isolation, okay, and fear. And what does that do? That lowers the vibration of the world. And guess what? If they can get us to a low enough vibration, we lose touch with the light, okay? And there goes our protections. And then they can create a blanket of energy that almost entraps us in this lower energy, okay, through this type of technologies. And it makes it very hard for us then to rise back up or ascend back up. The light is super powerful. One person can make a huge difference. One person's light can change the entire planet. So now think of that. Think of that on a global scale, how powerful we are in the light, okay? Many of us light workers who were trapped in what feels like the lowest dimensions of hell, okay, to put it lightly, were working in that dimension to transcend those energies. And it felt very hard for that group that was feeling those energies at that time. It's like a part of us was just dying, okay? So now I'm getting messages that we are going now into the second group right now of that tier who was not awakened and was not a threat in any way, okay? They were not aware of anything. The only way you become a threat to the dark is when you're awake, okay? So then the second group now who's waking up, they now have to freaking go through that same type of energies, okay? And it's going to shake through their life in a very similar fashion. And so it's important now that the first group that went through that horrid time period of light workers, they are the ones that are going to be bringing in and ushering in the guidance for that next group, okay? So that's kind of the messages that I'm getting right now. We have to move into the light, and we have to take care of our life force energies, protecting our happy energies. And I'm about to meet up on Patreon with the fairy and angel tier to talk more about that in terms of the resistance of this, because we are in a technology war, okay, that we have not talked about or addressed in any way. But we are in a huge technology war, and it's an AI war. And they're rolling it out swimmingly through massive corporations. But now people are going to start to wake up to what it really is, and what they truly have been doing behind the scenes. And now we are going to have to learn how to navigate their technologies, okay? And that's part of the spiritual warfare, because they go together. So light workers and techies are now right in the same land. They reside in the same land of our technologies, okay? And that's part of the spiritual warfare, because they go together. So light workers and techies are now right in the same land. They reside in the same land, okay? They're now neck and neck, okay? And so the techies who are not working for the light, they've crossed into divine land, okay? They have crossed into human laws. They have violated free will and sovereignty, okay? And so what happens is now the spiritual beings are coming neck and neck to the techies, okay? The ones that are love to program us and do whatever they want. So that's kind of where we're hanging out right now. And now we have to figure out how to navigate their technology systems to gain back what is already ours. And that's just a lot of spiritual inner work. So I'm going to be meeting with that tier hopefully within the next several minutes or so to try and have a discussion around that right now. But this has to be addressed now because of what the plans are going into the next several months, okay? Because you have to understand that they are looking at this from a completely different perspective because of this election, and things are gearing up. So we have to just be aware of what is really going on behind the veil and not right in front of our faces, because they are working in interdimensional planes of war, okay? And it's a completely different battleground than we are accustomed to, okay? Because we're used to the physical threats showing up in the physical space in terms of weapons in front of us, physical weapons and destruction. But there is a whole other warfare that is going on behind the veil, okay? So that's what the light workers, spiritual people, will be aiding in this next group who's going through this awakening. So I hope that resonates with you today. I'll leave you guys there. I'm sending you guys so much love and blessings. If you guys are interested in a reading, I will leave that information below. And I'll get Wheel of Fortune coming through. This does play into monies, finances, success. It plays into our life path, our soul contracts, divine unions, everything. So this is not something to be taken lightly at all. This is something that we have to take seriously, because when they break into our genetic codes, we are looking at a whole different landscape for our lives. And so that's what's on the line. And I don't want to put it, I don't want to put it lightly. Okay. So this stuff has to be taken seriously, and we have to address it in a very serious fashion in terms of how we take ourselves, okay, how we treat ourselves and see ourselves in the landscape of the world globally, okay, and in terms of our work, self-work is really important right now. All right, so I will leave you guys there, send you guys so much love and blessings.